So it's been a while since I've made a video, and to be honest, it's mainly just because transfer news was really slow. I made, TikTok videos, and if you're not following, I really appreciate a follow on TikTok if possible. But in terms of YouTube and actually sitting down, there hasn't really been too much to digest without sort of forcing it and stretching it out. But with the news that came out late last night that Heung-min Son has decided to leave Tottenham, it has to be spoken about. An absolute incredible servant for the club, stayed with us for many a year. Obviously everyone has mentioned it, but when Kane was flirting with leaving, doing the interviews with Gary Neville, and clubs were starting to sniff things weren't looking good under Nuno. We had just lost Jose. The club was very fractured overall. He went and signed a long-term contract, and that long-term contract has now expired. And my God, what an absolutely beautiful ending to what has been an incredible story. Having his last game be winning that Europa League for us is pretty much like as good as it could ever get for us. There is a part of me that's a bit sad that we're not going to get, one more pre-season game at home for a goodbye for him. But realistically, ending it in South Korea for him, surrounded by, his friends, family, probably all there showing love, is pretty much a storybook ending for him. So I know Thomas Frank has said that, hasn't confirmed that it will be his last game, but with the move to LAFC looking pretty advanced, I would imagine in the next few days it's going to be confirmed. So that's going to be done, and Son's chapter at Tottenham for now closes. I would love to see him come back as a Ledley King style ambassador. He's obviously an absolute icon, hero, legend for this team. So would be really nice for the club to, look after him once he's done playing in probably like 5-10 years, maybe. Probably more on the 5 side. In terms of the decision, it was right, wasn't it? I mean, I've seen a lot of Tottenham fans having to sort of justify that while we all knew it was going to happen, when you actually get the news and the confirmation, it still feels really tough to sort of digest and take on, because this is someone who we have watched literally develop from a boy into a man. He said himself when he arrived, he was a kid who couldn't speak a word of English, and he leaves with so many good memories, so many fans who absolutely love and adore him. Like, if they wanted to build a statue of him, I don't think many fans would have a complaint. I mean, Kane's got the mural still outside. I mean, I think that he still deserves to have that mural. But in terms of Son, there's got to be a step up or a level up for him to show our absolute appreciation for him, because he absolutely deserves it. So fingers crossed there's something in the pipeline soon. One of the things that I mentioned in my TikTok video was just one of the small key aspects of him, but it was how well loved he was by all of his peers on other teams. You've seen the videos of him hugging people after games and stuff, and there's never really a bad word said about him. I've seen a few Everton fans still trying to dig him out for the Andre Gomez situation, when everyone knows that wasn't his fault. But there's always got to be someone on the internet that's quirky and doesn't like him, because I think for most fans, they can respect what he's done at Tottenham, even if he scored against them. Son is pretty universally well liked. I mean, there was the tweet a couple of years ago of like, who has no haters, and then by putting out that tweet, you get the people who then come up with reasons. But I think a lot of people, Tottenham or not, will have the utmost respect for what he's done. Stayed when things weren't looking good, and ultimately led us to our first European trophy in 40 years. So if you can't respect that, then there's not much more you can respect in football. When we're talking about goal catalogues, I mean, it really doesn't get much better. Left foot, right foot, inside the box, outside the box, solo runs, long range screamers, curlers. He had it all, and he was just so good. He was unstoppable, and I'm sure there's a lot of people making compilations for him now, and I bet they're having an absolute feast getting to relive all the moments and seeing how his career has developed. I mean, the goals off the top of your head, obviously the Burnley goal, the Puskas winner, I was there when it happened. unbelievable. The Champions League nights under the lights, pushing us through against Man City. The Chelsea run, the West Ham screamer at Wembley, which I spoke about on my TikTok, was quite funny because I was there at the time, and I remember he picked it up, and as he's gone to shoot, I've gone, no, like, just praying that he didn't. It rifles top bins. The guy next to me taps me and goes, I was thinking exactly the same thing, and we shared that moment. And, you know, that guy probably doesn't remember that memory, but I do, and that's what football is all about. You know, the amount of strangers you've hugged because of Son goals. Do you know what I mean? The amount of people you spoke to about Son that you wouldn't have spoke to before. And, like, that's just a small personal part of me, of, like, the impact he has had at this club. And it can never be understated how important he was. I'm not going to get drawn into the, you know, bigger legend than Kane debate, really. People can have their own opinions. But, I mean, he has the end product that he can always point to. Kane, yes, the better player, but bigger legend for the club is, you know, it's a tough argument that I'm not going to really have with anyone. You can think what you want, but he is right up there with the very best of our legends, and that's indisputable. One thing which is a big question mark now is who is going to be Tottenham's, you know, talisman? Who is going to be our superstar? We've had Kane and Son for the last 10 years, and if you think of all the clubs around, like the Premier League, you know, Arsenal have Saka, City have Haaland, Liverpool have Salah, and now we need someone to really step up into that mould. We need someone who, when other fans and players see their name on the team sheet, they go, oh God, we've got to look out for him. Because at the moment, we don't really have that. Maddison would be my pick instantly for that, but the injuries have picked up during his spell here. So I'm really hoping Tottenham are going to go out and get another left winger. We cannot be left with Tell and Odobert, as good as they are. You've got Kudus and Johnson on the right, Tell and Odobert on the left. We need more. And I know it's unrealistic, but for some reason Rafael Leao is just calling my name. Probably never, ever going to happen. It would take a seismic shift in Tottenham's everyday runnings of how they do things. But if there was ever a time that we needed a superstar, a ready-made superstar, it is now. And it cannot be, argued how important that is. We still have a couple of weeks left in this window, and I had a feeling for the last few weeks that a lot of our business was hinging on when Son had made his decision. So hopefully now this is all put to rest. Tottenham can go out and really get us a big name, because I think that Arsenal performance showed that we're not a million miles away from being a good team. Like, we just need a couple of experienced good players in there that we can rely on. Everyone was sort of, losing their heads after the Wickham and the Luton friendlies because it was looking a little bit drab. But that Arsenal friendly showed how defensively compact we can be now. But to the point of going forward, we look a little bit struggling. So that's where we're going to need a big name. Tell and Odobert are still young. We need someone with experience to put that on their shoulders, who can teach them, who can show them, and make things happen for us, because we can't just let Son go and then shuffle the pack and hope that something else comes up. That's not how it's going to work, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, so that is my thoughts and feelings on Son, an absolute legend, icon. Shout out to Berahino for his transfer not happening, because without that we probably wouldn't have got Son and would have got Berahino, and who knows where life could have taken us. But let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your memories. Let me know everything in the comments. Once again, if you're not following my TikTok, I'm pretty active on there. I try to do 2 to 3 videos a day, depending on news. Could be a slow one, but would really appreciate a follow on there. Trying to get that to the 10,000 mark, so that we can start putting money back into it. So yeah, thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that stuff. I'll be a lot more active over the season once the talking points are a lot more frequent. Maybe doing like a once a week roundup of things and whatnot. So yeah, keep an eye out, and thank you for watching.